that out of the way, let's talk about main topic number 2. And it's interesting that we're talking about Uber buying Postmates and how Uber is like not paying as much attention to rideshare anymore because another industry that was turning to another company, I should say, well, industry company. They're kind of the same thing when you get down to it, but another company slash industry that was leaning on well, actually, I think it was Lyft. I think they were leaning on Lyft to pick up guests and take them to places was Disney. Disney World specifically. Disney World made a deal with Lyft to actually have Lyft carry people from hotels, like particularly the Disney hotels, to the theme parks. Now, Disney started experimenting with rideshare to charter guests around because even though they have taxis and even though they have their own shuttle buses, they're not super reliable, they are infrequent, and even though they're there and they work, some people just want to get there a lot sooner. And they saw that Uber and Lyft was becoming a more and more popular thing, and it became like a hassle to have like standard cars show up at the theme park to drop off guests. Now, Disney decided that they would partner with Lyft, and if people at one of their hotels or really any nearby hotel who wanted to go to Disney Park called for a Lyft on the Lyft app, in some cases, Disney would have their own fleet of Lyft vehicles called the minivans. And the minivans were, well, a minivan that was designed like Minnie Mouse. Like it was red and white polka dot, had like Minnie Mouse ears with a bow tie symbol on it. Really, really cute little cars. And they would charter guests to the parks and home from the parks. Now, people loved the look of these minivans. But here's the thing, there weren't nearly as many of them as there could be. And one of the problems is when you start conditioning people off of the shuttles and into like the individual cars, it causes problems like traffic. You need more cars than there's available. And well, it seems like Disney just basically said enough. By the way, this is what the minivan looks like. Because there's a rumor, and it's all but been confirmed, that Walt Disney World will be retiring the minivan service, and the cast members and the vehicle leases will be terminated. So this is from, what is this from? WDW News Today, Walt Disney World News Today. It has been a tumultuous experience for the minivan service at Walt Disney World, a point-to-point transportation option owned and operated by Disney that launched back in 2017. A pet project of now CEO Bob Chapek. So actually, this is something that Bob Chapek himself worked on. Minivans were Disney's response to many of their guests choosing not to use the provided complimentary and honestly often unreliable transportation options Disney provides their guests, and instead booking a Uber, Lyft, or similar transportation method to get around the vacation kingdom of the world. Minivans were deemed overpriced by most guests, as is most things at Disney World. That's my comments, that's not theirs. And they were also hard to get when you actually wanted them, like around park opening and closing times. Like, yeah, because they only had so many of these things, and the most popular times that people are going to want to use them is during park opening and closing. And I mean, yeah, if you wanted to go in the middle of the day, you could definitely get one a lot easier. But if you're vacationing there, why would you want to wait until like halfway through the day before going to Disney World? After 3 years of hemorrhaging money, and another theme about all of these Lyft and Uber partnerships, all these rideshare partnerships, like we saw it was Hertz, and they're always hemorrhaging money. Like no one ever makes money off these things. Cast members believe the service is being brought to an end. According to cast members, after having been furloughed since March and expecting that they would return to work soon, their leadership is now suddenly informing the drivers that they should update their resumes. Never a good sign. Some cast will inevitably be transferred to other departments, but the belief amongst employees is that nearly 200 of them will be terminated. Disney is claiming the termination of the service is for the safety of the drivers, and I actually kind of agree with that to a certain extent. I'll tell you why. But the drivers that reached out did not seem convinced of this based on the financial performance of the minivans outside of the premium airport transportation offering. Similar Lyft and Uber services have found ways to continue to operate through the pandemic. Now then, That thing is just so cute. I'm actually kind of a little annoyed that I won't be able to drive in that thing. If they're going to auction off those cars, I mean, they probably have to repaint them. But if they don't repaint them, hey, I would gladly buy one of those cars. Now, they've yet to announce the terminations of the employees or anything. But, here's the thing. Like, there's a reason the shuttles have been going on for a long time. There's a reason Disney didn't partner with like taxis a lot sooner to give people personal transportation, because it's just way more convenient to shove a bunch of people in a shuttle and ferry them to the Magic Kingdom. Granted, that might also have to be rethought because of what's currently going on. Now, I do believe that to a certain extent, they're being a little truthful when they say, hey, it's for safety, because, the minivan isn't quite as big. But here's the thing. The minivans are bigger than like for example, Corolla. There are people who can go in the back. And also, I know people, particularly my friend Noah, who have installed like these plastic barriers to kind of keep the germs back, and they continue to drive frequently. With all the money that Disney has, they could probably do something like this as well. The main reason that this is being terminated is because it's not making money, and it's not doing what they want it to do. It's, from the sounds of things, they had high goals for it. They wanted it to be profitable. They wanted it to be more convenient, and it just wasn't. It ultimately, at the end of the day, wasn't. And that's one of the big problems, and why you should not be buying stock in these companies, by the way. You should not be buying stock in these companies, because all the partnerships they do, they never actually make money. They don't. They just kind of, they don't. They just hemorrhage money. And yeah, of course, guests like it. It's convenient when they arrive, but it hemorrhages money for the companies. And Disney, above most companies, are going to be doing like a lot of cutting, because they've been hurt harder than most people during the pandemic. Because Disney is entertainment. So it's like, what's their money? Movie theaters, theme parks, sports, now streaming. Like, that's 3 of those big money-making industries of theirs are shut down, and the streaming has yet to make money. Although Hamilton was certainly like a big win for them, and we'll talk about Hamilton a little later. But yeah, so it's disappointing that the minivan service will be discontinued. Again, just look at that. That thing is so adorable. I like that. I like that thing. I think that's just a cute idea. But ultimately, it's just not worth it for Disney. It seems like the customers were more annoyed by it than anything, or the guests, I should say, because, there's no customers at Disney. There are guests. But I don't know. I'd like to know, what do you think? Did any of you ever ride in one of these minivans? What do you think of Disney terminating this? Do you think it's because of cost? Do you think it's because of safety? Do you think maybe there might be another reason they're not doing it? Like maybe they have like their own alternate plan that I'm not thinking of right now? I would love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly.